Okay, now we've got our 4 flaps down. We're going to use a ribbon closure. Just like our other one. So I'm going to grab my little butterfly. Where'd he go? The little butterfly strip I was using that I cut 1.5 inches wide. I'm going to cut it 1.5 inch long, so it's 1.5 by 1.5. And I'm just grabbing a scrap piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to glue that down. My glue dried up on me. Okay, I'm going to cut this edge here. Just give it about a 1/16 of an inch. Just like we did our previous one. Then I'm going to take it and put a score line . And I'm just going to cut off some of this excess. And that way we have a little tab. Alright, now grab you an eyelet and your crocodile punch. Or We Are Memory Keepers. See if I can get this one done. Alright, on this flap, we are going to put it down here at the bottom. So we want our little eyelet here at the top. So let me go ahead, I'm going to use the larger punch. Eyeball it, center. See, my flap is down here at the bottom. Put our little eyelet in there. I got nervous. It was almost stuck. Okay, let's cut some ribbon. I'm going to cut 10 inches. Excuse me. Get some water. And I'm going to cut 2 10 inches. I'm going to thread this one through that eyelet. And just like before, we're going to glue it. glue that down. Then I'm going to get more of my little paper, and I am going to cut out to cover that. So I'm just going to make a little mark where it needs to be. There we go. There we go. I'm going to just sandwich that down in there. Alright. This one is going to go under our last page. Let's do this. Let's get our ruler. We're going to put it 1/4 inch underneath our last page, just centering it. So 1/4. Check this side and make sure it's straight. Alright, I'm going to move this out of the way and I'm going to make a line. We're going to do them just like we did our flaps. Oops. So take your knife, your ruler, and cut that one out. It seemed a little long. Make sure I drew that correctly. Yep. Whoop, let me taper that edge. To me, it just seems to make it go in that little slot we just made easier. Alright, mine turned out good. So I'm going to flip it over and glue it down. Got a little excess glue there. Alright. Now we have that down. We're going to take our opposite ribbon, line it up with that eyelet, and I just want to glue it over the top, like so. Well, I lost my spot. Let's do this. I'm going to put the glue on the ribbon. Line it up and take it and flip it over. There we are. I'm going to go ahead and put a piece of tape on that just to make sure. I'm sure that glue will hold it just fine, but here we are. Now, that will be our closure. I told you I didn't like both. But they're so pretty in an album. Now, we are going to go ahead and put our flowers and our embellishments down here at the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and pause and go through and see what I can figure out, and then I will be right back with y'all. Alright, I have my page finished and decorated, and I went and added throughout both sides the little Prima Say It with crystals. So I just randomly added those, and on the bottom I have a combination of the same flowers in the packs that I showed you previously. I did take some ivory colored ribbon, and it's actually a ruffled ribbon, and I just glued it around the back of that purple center flower to make it a little bit wider. So, and then I add another one of the Tim Holtz flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this up. And again, make sure you get glue close to these corners where you cut into that paper. So we do not want those coming undone. So lots of glue around all these cuts. All right. Okay, and I'm just going to center that around, making sure the thread around our edges shows. Sorry if I'm getting my head in the way, it's hard to see this top part. Looks like I'm pretty close. I'll pull it down just a bit. There we go. Yes, that's going to work just fine. Untie this, make sure it adheres around all those cuts that we made. Alright, now we can prepare and get ready for our next page. So we're going to set that aside for a minute. I have my background page here. It's another one of the Maja designs. It's the Vintage Spring Basics, the 10th of March. And I'm going to cut it down 9 7/8 by 9 7/8. I'm just going to double check real quick from our page. Make sure that it fits. And it fits perfectly. Okay, we need our purple, or I'm using the purple. We're doing the inside. We need 3 4x6. And you know what, I'm just realizing we forgot to go back in, or I forgot to go back in and add cardstock to my inside. Let's do that real quick. So we need 4. Let's just do those real quick. So I have 2 there. I apologize for that, guys. I got too excited about getting those flowers down. That's 3. Okay. 4 4x6. I'm going to go ahead and do my crocodile in the deco. I'm doing 2. I'm cutting 2 sheets at a time. We'll glue these down and then move right along. There's 1. This one down, and then we'll have 1 more. Okay. There we are. We'll tie these back up. And set that aside and get back to what we were doing. Now, we needed 3 at 4x6. So there's 1. 2, 3. Now we're going to grab our white cardstock. We need one that is 4 1/4. By 6 1/4. So set that one aside. And we need 2 each that is 4.75, so 4 3/4. By 6 1/4. So again, that is 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. Okay. So take your 2 pieces that we just cut, the ones that are 4.75 by 6 1/4, and we're going to score that. We're going to put it, and I have the 4.75 at the top, and we are going to score at, let's see, 1/2 inch, I believe. Yes, score at 1/2 inch. And take your next one. We're on the 4.75, 4 3/4 end, and we're going to score it at 1/2 inch. Set that one aside. So let's go ahead and I'm going to cut down the corners of my purple cardstock. And we're going to start adding them. You know what, let's go ahead and do our deco punch on the white before we get too much further. I'm doing the opposite for the tab, but the first one we cut, the smaller one that doesn't have the tab, I'm going to do all 4 corners on that one. Yeah, had a little trouble with that one. Now for this page, this is going to be centered like this. We're going to have one flap here, then one flap a little higher here, and then both of them will open like such. And anyway, let's go ahead and cut the purple for the inside while I'm thinking about it so I won't forget that one again. So those were 4 by 6. And we're going to get 2 of those. Do our decorative corners. And we'll glue those down real. There we are. So let's go ahead and take this one, get my ruler, let's see what. Okay, we're going to do a 1/2 inch from the top. So from the top of your background paper, I'm sorry, 1.5 inches. One and a half, and then on the side we want 1.75. Yes. So 1.5 inches from the top of your cardstock to the top of this picture mat, and then 1.75 from the left to the picture mat, and that should give you 1.75 for on the right side. So I'm going to just go ahead and make a little pencil mark and put some glue on here. Oh, looks like I got a little crooked there. Well, how did I do that? I did 1.5. Try to move this over a bit. There we go. Gee willikers. And then erase my pencil mark. Alright, I'm going to cut the tabs at a diagonal. Let's see. I'm just going to find the center of this. Okay, so our white cardstock is 6 1/4. So we want to make a little bit of just a tiny pencil mark at 3 1/8. So when we want each flap to line up with that. I know you're not going to be able to see it because my paper is so dark, but we want each flap to line up with that pencil mark so they're both centered. And I believe I want to offset them a little bit like this. Yeah, let's start with this one. Alright, so put it on your little pencil mark, and then we want a 1/2 inch from the top. Check. Take your pencil, trace that tab. Take your cutting knife and cut down that line. I'm going to check it, make sure it fits okay. Alright. Going to erase my line. Okay. So on our next flap, we're going to put it all the way up, like barely touching this flap here, because I don't want them to rub when you open and close them. But I do want to offset it just a little bit. So let's make this one 1 1/4. Yes, 1 1/4 from the top. 1 1/4 from the top of your cardstock to the top of our photo mat. And then make your line. And let's cut that out. make sure it fits after I trim my corners of my flap. I got a pencil mark on it. Alright, mine fits. So we're going to go, oops, sorry. We are going to go ahead and glue both of these down. Let me go ahead and start with this one since I already have it in. Second one. All right. Now for this closure, I'm going to do a little swing tab here at the bottom. So I'm going to get my little butterfly paper that we've been using, that's cut at 1.5 inch wide, and I want to make it 1.5 by 1.5. And finding a little piece of scrap white or whichever color paper that you're using. And on this one, we're not going to be making a flap. So I'm just going to glue it down and cut around it, leaving me 1/16 of an inch of the white. Around all 4 corners. And then you want to grab, for the life of me, at the top of my head, I cannot think of what they are. These little guys. Whoops, I'm dropping. Let me get a bigger one. I'm going to use these. I've got these purple ones. Let's see what looks. Try this one. Alright, there's a purple one. Let's see if I got smaller. Hey, there we go. Let me use one of those little guys. And I'm going to put it down here. In the corner. And that way we can just flip it down and then open each side. So I'm going to put it there. Poke through here. Well, I Like I said, that Modern Design's got some seriously thick paper. And then poke through our cardstock in the back. There we go. I'm just going to put some glue. Make sure this thing stays down and put. There we are. Now we have a closure. Okay, so we just flip that down. Photo, photo, photo. So I am going to go ahead and adhere this down to my book, and then start with my embellishments down here at the bottom. Or I may just do a little corner. Let's see. So this is our second page. Make sure you get glue good around where we cut our paper. You can use your double-sided tape on this, but make sure you back it up with some glue around these edges, because that's the part, remember, that's sticking to our fabric. So don't believe just the tape by itself will stick to that fabric well enough. Alright, let's get him in place. I'm going to try and keep my head out of the frame. Stand on my tiptoes. There we are. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add my embellishments, and I'll be back with y'all. Alright, so I have mine completed. Let me zoom in. Going with the same theme in flowers. I have a little ribbon tucked through. Then I have some of the little I Am Rose buds. I use more of that Prima flower. This one again, it had a gold in the center, so I took that out and then added another one of these I Am Roses. I added some of the purple flowers. This is kind of yellowish, the baby's flower. And then I found another little tiny metal flower, butterfly in my stash, and I added there. And also added some of the Say It With crystals from Prima. I just want to add that whenever you're putting in your embellishments, to make sure that you have clearance for your little tab that folds down. Alright, so we are going to go ahead and, whoops, start on our next page. And this page is actually going to fold out. So I have chosen the pages that I want to use. The little flowers butterflies that I've been using. And this one is Vintage Spring Basics 7th of April. So I am going to cut this one down. Set that aside. And we're going to cut this one down to 9 7/8 by 9 7/8. Okay, and I'm just going to double check that it fits in my page. And I've got fabric on all sides, so we're good to go there. I'm running out of room in my set it over there. So what we're going to do is this page is going to fold over, and all of our photo mats are going to be on this page. So let's go ahead and grab your, mine's going to be white, so this is my background that I've been using, and it's just going to go around the edge like this, and then we'll have our flap. So let's cut this 8 inches. Wait, 8.5 inches, I'm sorry. 8.5 inches wide, which it should already be 8.5 inches wide, by 9 7/8. So 8.5 by 9 7/8, and then we're going to grab our scoreboard. On the 8.5 inch side, we are going to score 1/2 inch. Okay. Hold on, my brain is... You know what? I'm just going to use this cardstock without any background. Because when it flips over, we'll have this pretty design on the back of it. So let's go ahead and cut this one down. I apologize for that. It's just a spur of the moment change. So 8.5. By 9 7/8. Grab your scoreboard. On our 8.5 inch side, I'm going to score it at 8. That way all my little butterflies will be in the correct direction. So we're going to fold this. And that's how it's going to be. When I fold it over, I've already got my design page on this side. So let me go ahead and set your background aside, and we're going to start making our photo mats on this page. So grab your cutting board, and in my case it's purple. And we need 7 of them, 7 each, that are 4 by 6. There's 2. Four. Makes 5. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Need 1 more. Alright, now grab your white cardstock. And we need 1 white that is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. And then we need 3 of them that is 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. So that's 1. Go ahead and use this one that let me cut that little flap off. So 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. And 1 more. Just enough. Oh, hold on, that one looked like it went a little wonky. Nope, that's good. Nice 6 1/4. Alright. Grab your scoreboard. And our 3 that are 4, the 3 that are, let's do it on this way, the 4 3/4, we want to score that at 1/2 inch. So on the 4 3/4 side, we'll score 1/2 inch and 1 more. There we go. Let's go ahead and put the purple cardstock on each one of them. I'm going to start by cutting my corners. In the deco. want to cut all 4 corners. Now our smaller one without the flap, we're going to cut all 4 corners on that one. And then the 2 corners opposite of our flap. Alright, now grab your glue and we're going to start putting our purple down. And this is a page with the flap, so we're going to put it on both sides. There's another one with a flap, so we need both sides. And our last one with the flap. Alright, and our page without the flap just requires 1. Alright. So let's grab our background, or our large flap. And what we're going to do is we're going to have the one without the flap. It's going to go down, and then these let's see. Alright. Grab your ruler. We want 1/2 inch from this edge, and mind you that I do have my flap behind here. So 1/2 inch from the score line is what it would be. Now be mindful, well, we don't have to cut this one. Okay. I want to make sure we didn't accidentally cut into our flap, but let's see, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and then 1 inch from the top. So 1/2 inch from the my score line to our photo mat, 1 inch from the top to the top of the photo mat. Let me measure mine. And I'm going to go ahead and put a line and glue that down. I lost my lines. That's the thing about having a colored cardstock. That's, well, let's measure it. One inch from the top, 1/2 inch. There we go. So making sure how all 4 of these are going to fit. Okay, for our next one, we want it exactly top and bottom with the piece we just put down, and then we're going to come in 1/2 inch from the white cardstock, the background part that we're using. Out. Alright, then take your pencil, make your mark, trace that down, and then we'll cut that out. Okay, grab your scissors and taper the ends of your tab, and we'll see how it fits. Alright, mine fits good, so I'm going to erase that pencil mark and go ahead and glue that one down. Alright, moving on to the next one. We're going to do the same thing. We are going to measure 1/2 inch from the end of this flap, from the white, the background cardstock. And then make sure that your top and your bottom, they all line up together. So I have mine in place. I'm going to take my pencil, draw that flap. Alright, I just accidentally bumped mine. And grab your knife and cut that one out. Cut and taper the ends of your tabs and see how yours fits. Alright, mine fits good, so let's erase our line. And we're going to put that in and glue it. Okay, we have one more. So, 1/2 inch. Make sure top and bottom is also lined up. Draw that mark. I'm going to cut that out, and before you get too ahead of me, we're going to glue in a ribbon with this one. Go ahead and erase that line. Taper my tabs. I need to cut mine a little bit more. that one fits. So I'm going to grab some of my ribbon. I'm going to cut 10 inches. Better scissors. And we need 2. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and take, let's see, about 1 inch from the bottom. I'm going to glue on this thread. There we have it. I don't know if y'all can see that. I just glued it directly to the tab. And go ahead and slide the ribbon and the tab in our little cut. And that way it'll come out that way. And we'll glue that last tab down. Alright, so now we need to put a thread on this side, and I'm going to again find my little there it is. It's 1.5 by 1.5. I'm going to take some of my little scraps of white paper and glue it down. Cut off the excess on the side to about 1/16 of an inch from that cardstock. So we have it all around, just like we did before. And take your scoreboard and just squirt on the white cardstock just past the design cardstock so it'll fold. And then I'm just going to take scissors and cut off the excess. And then we have our little flap. So I'm going to grab another eyelet. Grab our We Are Memory Keepers, and I'm going to use the largest hole and set that eyelet. Now we need our other piece of ribbon. Going to put it through from the outside, going in, and glue that down. And then we're going to cover it up with another piece of cardstock. I think that guy's too small. Yes. So I just need another 1/2 by 1.5. 1.5 by 1.5. Sorry, I was looking at my little butterflies on here and seeing how I wanted to cut. And we'll glue that to the back and cover up that ribbon. There we are. Now we want to take this and we're going to remove all this other. Add this across, and this flap's going to go around onto our other flap, and we're just going to kind of line it up straight, the ribbon across, and then glue that down. Glue it down onto your larger flap. There we are. Let's go ahead and tie this down. And grab your other cardstock, the 9 7/8 by 9 7/8, and we are going to go ahead and adhere this down to the left hand side. And I'm going to use some double-sided tape. You know what? I completely and totally did not even think that through. Oh, woman. We are going to have to put a piece of, because of our cuts. La-di-da-di-do. Let's go ahead and adhere this down. Alright, so that's my one big mistake for the tutorial. Ay, ay, ay. I'm just going to put cardstock directly onto the back of this. Alright, so line it up, put that cardstock all the way up to your score line without covering it. All right. I'm going to use a swivel closure on this one again, but since I already have this little guy here, I am going to use, I found these online, I think I got them on AliExpress. and they're just clear plastic swivel. So I'm going to use that, and that's what's going to hold down this page. And I'm going to find me another brad. Let's see, the one like we used before was a little bit tiny. Since this will be, I'm going to use this purple. Going with the larger brad. Yeah, we're going to use that guy. But before we do that, let's go ahead and cover our back here. So we need cardstock 8 wide. By 9 7/8. So 8 wide, 9 7/8 tall. I'm just checking to make sure everything looks like it fits okay. And it does. I hate to cover that up. Alright, my mind's going in circles here. I think we're going to make a pocket. Yes, let's make a pocket. Grab some tape, regular Scotch tape, and we are going to tape all of this down. I'm just putting it over where all these little cuts have been made. So when you run your hand across like this, you get no resistance, and that tape covers the whole thing. So I have all of mine down. Now we used our Martha Stewart punch in the beginning, so we are going to do that again. So grab some of your cardstock and let's cut it at 5 inches wide. By 9 7/8. Oh, my white cardstock has a little curl on the end of it. So I'm going to just check my height. Good deal. So we're going to do our Martha Stewart punch down one end. and we're just going to make a pocket right here. See, you think enough. There's usually always a solution, even though times I have had to throw stuff away, but so I'm putting tape on all 3 sides to make our pocket. Take the backing off and put that in place. Trying to get it right on that edge. There we are. Now we need to choose. That's what I'm going to use. So mine come out to be 3 3 3/4, but measure yours, and I'm going to go, since I want a little bit of a border, I'll tell you what, that's how we're going to do this. I want a little bit of the white showing through on all 3 of these sides. So our pocket is 9 7/8, so I'm going to go to the 9 7/8 mark, and then I'm going to subtract 1/16 of an inch and cut there. And then for our width, mine is 3.75, so I'm going to subtract 1/16 of an inch from there, and we'll see how that looks. And I like it. So I'm going to glue that one down.